Well, Free Enterprise fans, we are down to the last 3 days of the group stages of the highway to the Threemus zone. Things are really starting to heat up here. We have a fantastic race tonight between Chocosura and microKorgs. I am Demerine2, and I am joined tonight on the microphone by Vitasia. Vitasia, how are you this fine, fine day?
You know, it is a fantastic Friday. Great way to kick off the weekend here with kind of our highlight match, or at least the start of our Restreamed uh, lineup here for the highway to the Threemus zone between two undefeateds. microKorgs at 2-0, and a win can put him solidly in the table stages. Chocosura also at 1-0, hoping to keep his table dreams alive as well. So this is just a fantastic matchup all around.
Yeah, the old veteran Chocosura, he's been around a long, long time. On the flip, we've got microKorgs, who's a little bit newer, but this is kind of possibly microKorgs' chance to take down another big name. Has that win against Starman, who made top 8 of the football gauntlet. So, this is a big one. This one's real important.
Absolutely. A win really puts microKorgs at ease. Getting to the tables from here is definitely the easier way to go. But, Chocosura, definitely not a stranger to the game, has been around for a long time, has won a lot of matches. So this is going to be a fantastic matchup. Worth noting that these runners, this entire group could have 3 of them go 2-1 and all go into the Magma group together, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, here we go. There is Baigen handing out the business. It's just an hourglass for Arcane and our Sid, or excuse me, our Yang and our Sid. God, so tired. So I guess we're gonna get out there and hit the road.
Absolutely. Not exactly what you wanted to see, but I guarantee you we're going to make use of that hourglass at some point in this race. It's just too good of an item to really pass up. It can help with a lot of relatively easy bosses that are free otherwise if you find them in a rude spot.
But yeah, three objectives on the table. Moon, Murasame, Alter, Yang with the pan, Cave Magnus, no freebies. Everything does require a key item today, so we'll see how these runners attack this seed then off the bat.
Chocosura, in the meanwhile, immediately ends up going over to Damsian to go ahead and clear out the treasure chest and get the character here. Meanwhile, we have a Choco check over here from microKorgs. He's going to be checking out some of the other areas. Looks like he's also going to be clearing out Bear and doing some regular checks here. Route divergence already, and that's one of the things we've been seeing in this tournament so far. Really early route divergence, and you can see Cecil available to us pretty early in the Baron Inn. Don't know if we're immediately going to go there, though.
King and Queen Evelyn were the first boss, so there's a freebie there to start us off. Both these runners sort of kind of going against the grain here a little bit. The big thing with T Wildish is that while good treasure's out there, the big thing is that it scales based on the location. The more isolated the location is, hence the Choco Forest check for microKorgs. Or like Watery Pass, where normally you wouldn't necessarily go, the loot's a little bit better. Damsian, not so much. Baron, also not so much. So it always kind of interesting to see how players sort of take on the opening here, whether you want to go for quantity or quality in the early game.
Absolutely. We did find Tella, by the way, in Damsian, so kind of a reversal of where he normally abandons you. Tella has had a very impressive glow-up this tournament. Without Fusoya available to us early, his early access to exit, really being the only access to a low-level weak, has really made him an impressive and almost necessary character, depending on your grind. Meanwhile, we do also find Porum in the Watery Pass.
I mean, throughout this whole tournament, securing grind's been really, really important because you've got to get a way to get your party going. Speaking of that, there's an Avenger Sword, so that Cecil could be a real good pickup. Avenger Sword, of course, giving you Force Berserk status, but giving you plus 10 strength, plus 10 agility, and a good chunk of striking power there. The Auto Berserk is also pretty fantastic, so both are going to be very happy to have that in tow.
Absolutely. We see Chocosura already taking advantage of his Tella, using that exit spell and opting to go check some other characters. Looks like he's on his way over to Mysidia. 2 free characters available. Meanwhile, microKorgs is doing exactly what we just saw Chocosura doing going ahead and clearing out Damsian. You're here, you might as well do it. Get the checks in. But Chocosura is going to show us another Tella, Dupe Tellas. One is fantastic, two is almost overkill, and another Porum. What?
Mashes that reset button like his life depended upon it because he wants no part of that. I don't know, double Porum's great, triple Porum better, 4 even better, and you can kind of see where this is going. Most runners only feel that they need the one white mage. There's some composition argument for triple bruiser, double white mage, but generally speaking, I think the consensus on these flags has been like try bruiser with a white and a black mage has been sort of the way to go, or like double bruiser, Tella, white mage, and then a fifth of any flavor.
No, you're right. And as great as a single Tella is in the race, 2 Tellas is a waste of space at that point in time. We're seeing double Karates already available, so our Sid and our Young are going to be at least, a nice little upgrade there to start with.
Yeah, it has a small strength bonus as well. We talk a lot about strength during these runs and how important it is as a statistic. Most of your bruiser characters tend to get just under 1 strength per level, so they tend to level up, and every 8 strength you have gives you a damage multiplier, which just makes you hit overall harder. The idea is that even like +3 strength kind of speeds up your curve just enough that it really does matter. So it's always really kind of important to sort of track your strength and have a sense of where your strength breakpoints are, because that's when you know your party is going to hit harder and harder.
microKorgs, meanwhile, is right on this tail, while Chocosura is going to go ahead and start his equipping and getting ready to start on our first boss here in the Antlion Cave. This is, a very traditional opening where, it's a relatively low-level boss. You can take early characters that start at level 10, and you can typically get through here. We do have a Sid who starts at level 20, and it looks like we also have at least an Earth Hammer for Sid on microKorgs side. Not sure if Chocosura picked it up, but either way, it's an Evil Wall. This should not be overly difficult, and not a bad spot for Evil Wall to be at either.
Yeah, Chocosura ended up picking up a Silver Hammer in the save point room, so at least does have that at this point in time. So, decent. Both of them are decent striking weapons. Good boss to see here, though. Evil Wall can be really dangerous in tougher spots because this is a fight on a time limit. If Evil Wall reaches your party, he just starts instant killing party members with no chance of resistance other than a ribbon. Also, there's a Dragoon armor in the back here, so if you want your Sid to be a tank, Dragoon armor is the best piece of gear he can equip, and gives good magic resist.
Chocosura makes quick work while microKorgs starts his fight. Chocosura, drum roll. Our first key item is, white shirt. Oh my goodness. Okay. Not the start these guys wanted.
Great for the end game, though. If your game plan is to take Porum to Zeromus, her health lags behind a little bit. White can really soften the blows from Zeromus Big Bangs or other big magic attacks, so you're real happy to see that.
I mean, I think I'd be happier to see a Rosa, but I'll take a white shirt. Sure, we'll do it.
So much complaining.
I am an endless well of complaining.
I mean, look, if you have a white shirt, you don't even need the Rosa at this point. You've got 2 Porums. You're good.
There, and we find a Cane up on Mount Hobbs. One of those interesting locations. You don't always see Mount Hobbs if it's not required because there's so many free characters that are available. But it might be worthwhile. This is going to be our 3rd bruiser, although, Sid's kind of a half bruiser, 3/4 bruiser most of the time. But Cane, yeah, I'll take a Cane, especially with that Avenger Sword.
Yeah, there's been many seeds from many runners over the years where you get an early Cane, you get an early Avenger Sword, you put Cane in the middle, out in the front, and you don't actually have to use your A button anymore. Your controller is only a directional pad at that point. You just set Cane loose on all of your problems. All of them.
Absolutely. microKorgs ends up doing a Watery Pass waterfall check. Finds the Plague located there. That's a nice spot for Plague. Plague can be a bit of a hassle depending on where he ends up showing and what HP pool he looks like. So I'm happy seeing Plague out of the way. You can have some other cheese strats that are available, but nice to see him out of the way one way or the other.
Yeah, Ogopogo off the table too. Those waves doing percentage damage, then some fairly nasty melee attacks in a lot of spots. So down goes Ogopogo for both our runners. Chocosura gonna check the back as well.
With that Tella, that's a great check. This is one of those out of the way checks that you can get some nice things. Just a Stardust, which can make some encounters trivial, depending on where we end up finding them, but otherwise nothing really long-term viable.
Yeah, likely something that you decide just to cash out on football defense or Baron in second boss just to get some damage out. Options certainly abound here, as microKorgs, you can see, is now putting the Avenger onto Kayn. And that is it now. Kayn is angry.
Kayn angry, and Chocosura gets his Avenger Spear going. He did also equip Sid with some arrows in order to back row glitch him, get that set up. So I imagine, yeah, we're going to have our Karate Master and Kayn. Did the back row glitch claim Kayn? I don't know.
We don't have a Dwarf axe yet to back row glitch Kayn. Just so everyone is aware of what the back row glitch is that in Final Fantasy IV, some characters are in front, some characters in back. Characters in back get enhanced defense and enhanced evasion, but at the cost of half of their hit rate, so they're much less accurate. Back row glitching, though, basically bows, for example, are a back row weapon. You can put bow and arrows, you can do full hit rate from the back row. It sets a bit in the memory of the game. The only thing about that is that even when you unequip the bow, it doesn't unset that bit, so you permanently have back row attack status for the rest of the game. This, of course, is really helpful because you can leave a tanky character in back dealing full damage while also not having to concern yourself with that character getting beat down pretty badly.
All right, and then meanwhile, Chocosura is on his way. He's doing Fabul Gauntlet. microKorgs is kind of right on his tail. This will be interesting. They're following a very similar path. microKorgs did a couple things differently. Checked early Mysidia that Chocosura may check eventually, but in the meantime, D-Lunars, we're getting a lot of lunar bosses really early.
Yeah, the moon boss cavalcade continues, but Chocosura has that Avenger on Kayn here, so ends up tripping the virus script from these. Basically, could get real dangerous, excepting he's hitting so hard it doesn't matter. The reflected viruses can hit real hard.
Tossing out another Cure Tube, gets through that boss very quickly. That could have gotten ugly very fast with that Avenger Kayn, but does get through. microKorgs are going to start that fight immediately. So this is going to be our next key item location check. We still have Ordeals and the Baron in terms of the first round, but this is our Magma Key.
Yeah, that's a good find. There's our Underworld access for free, basically. microKorgs lagging behind only slightly because he's doing a little bit more. He's doing a little bit more shopping, and just has generally been a hair behind starting off in Baron. So he's got the Baron checks done that Chocosura is likely just to skip out on completely at this point.
And Chocosura is going to say, you know what? I have a Tella. I would like to get him activated in kind of a standard pattern. And since I'm in the general vicinity of the world, it's very easy to go ahead and route in Fabul with Ordeals. They're relatively close to each other in the world, both kind of on that same side of the world. So very easy to go ahead and route those two together. So we'll see Chocosura immediately go there. We'll see what microKorgs does after this Demon fight.
Yeah, a lot of runners want to go moon, or want to go underground as soon as they have the chance, but here's our Black Mage. This is a great pickup. The only weakness of Palom on these flags is we have the Warp Glitch on, which lets you get 2 items from Dwarf Castle by getting the Sealed Cave item for free. He gets Warp at 29, so now your hope is on Sirens being underground, because he needs a bunch of levels. Oh wait, we have Tella. We're fine.
Yeah, Tella with the Warp Glitch will typically end up doing it. 29, yeah, it's really interesting that Quake Kid, you know, it used to be that his main viability was that he gets Quake so low, which is still great, but man, you really want to make it so that he can get his Quake early, but then also his Warp, because using that Warp Glitch with these particular flag set is just so powerful and necessary, really.
He's not a utility caster. Palom is just here to destroy your foes. Here's orbs. And you're just clarifying for chat, asking about the Stardust Red. Yes, the item we saw was a Stardust consumable one-shot item, so...
Yeah, we haven't really seen a whole lot of caster gear in terms of rods or robes or anything other than that white shirt in particular. So he would love to have something right now, but we're gonna be rolling in. Lots of opportunity though. There's still a lot of treasure chests and a lot of shops for us to be able to try.
Yeah, the most annoying thing about this particular fight is that the CPU is a back row enemy. So without the back row glitch, your fighters are going to have a pretty hard time doing damage, basically. But going to pop the Stardust for speed here. Hopefully has done enough damage to the rear orb. Needs 2,300 damage in this spot.
Got to be a little bit careful here. Oh, popped off a flare. That was a well-timed flare. Chocosura getting through. Man, he is just... It seems like he's on point right now. Everything, he's counting his damage incredibly well. He knows exactly what he needs to do for everything. This is just... He's running a fantastic race right now.
Yeah, no save needed. He is confident, moves straight forward into finding double guards in spot 2. Susceptible to status effects, you might pop that hourglass here to stop taking these melee hits, which, yeah, he decided to cash it out for now. They do exist in shops in the underground, so you can get hourglass 2s down there. So this is sensible. Locks these bosses down. Now they can't act for a large number of ticks. So just going to run them off the bridge here real quick.
Now help me understand, hourglass 1s, don't they have a shorter duration than hourglass 2 or 3s, technically?
They do, but, like... Hourglass 1s last for enough turns that in a circumstance like this, it really doesn't matter all that much. You're gonna see a lot of damage output here. It's gonna be more than enough to overcome the relatively short length of the hourglass.
And he does get through. Meanwhile, microKorgs finds his Palom. I imagine he's going to take it. Palom is just that important. We'll see. He's thinking.
I mean, with Tella in your party, you don't strictly need the Black Mage. It's gonna take him over Yang here instead. Maybe banking on not necessarily going for a lower levels or a Strat later potentially. Yang tends to need a lot of levels because he does not get any benefit from weapons for direct damage.
It's true. He is one of the most level-dependent characters out there. He's still pretty decent. I like him quite a bit, but yeah, he's not. You're planning on going in low level. Dragoon Spear. So that Kane is going to do work. And the rudest Golbez ever.
Golbez decides to take matters into his own hands with the whole darkness thing here. Always funny to me. However, Dragoon Spear is probably the weapon you want to see for Kane, as it secures your grind. Two of the most major grinds in this game, which are Eggs in the Underground and Gold Dragons on the Moon, are both Dragon-type enemies, which means that Kane is good for the quaddest of damage, which is really what you want.
I mean, one of the nice things about this particular spot for Golbez is he has very, very low health once you get through this. And 2, you're not going to get any experience out of this, so there's no pressure to really raise anyone up in order to be able to gain experience. So it doesn't feel ideal, but it's not a horrible spot for Golbez once it's all said and done.
Yeah, microKorgs is going for a very fast strat, leaving the Avenger on Kane and actually getting using Twin Magic to blow up the orbs, the front 2 orbs, and then letting Berserk Kane swing for 800 a pop on the rear orb, which ends up being a really good strategy. 3 swings in that fight is history. So microKorgs making up a little bit of time here, obviously going to lose it back to the Man of Darkness here. Good old Golbez going to ruin our day a little bit, but not a lot you can do about that.
No, and one of the nice things, we did see Golbez get a virus off, but only did 100 some odd damage. very, very low magic attack at that particular spot. So Chocosura making quick work of that Golbez. Again, does not matter. He gets a full heal after this fight anyway, so his party's full up. Dragoon Lance, so we do have our Magma Keys and we know where our underground is, but this has been a key item kind of desert on the overworld. We needed something to get to the underground, but nothing doing so far.
I'm excited. I'm hoping we've got a deep moon seed coming. This could be a good one. This will really show off sort of the balance of grinding and getting geared up and figuring out how best to get your levels. This could be real interesting. Or we could like go underground and get like a pan from Dwarf Castle and it turned into a Darkness Crystal and a Harp, and then we're all real sad because the seed takes like an hour and 5 minutes.
You know what? I have full faith and ability in Inven for rolling a worse seed than that. So we'll see how it happens.
I mean, a lot of the rudest bosses are already falling off the table left and right. Chocosura playing this very directly, though. Head straight to Baron.
He's not been to Baron yet. We did see microKorgs go ahead and clear it out, so he does not know there's a Cecil waiting for him. And for him, it's a Pally Cecil. Are you tempted at any point? Because you have a Dragoon Lance for your cane, and now you have an Avenger sword that you could throw on your Cecil. Are you tempted to take Cecil, even with his agility, anchor, manipulation, shenanigans that he can do?
I mean, so let's talk a little bit about the strengths and weaknesses of Cecil in these particular flags in general. One, can still equip Excaliburs, can still equip Crystal Swords, right? Still can just do total gas damage in the end game. The problem is that we have vanilla agility. So what happens is if you take Cecil, your agility is bound to Cecil, and if you want to level your Cecil up, there's a little bit of a problem with that, because now all of a sudden, your Cecil with levels, of course, adjusts the agility of the rest of your party. Usually use an anchor with very low agility end game to make sure everybody else is getting one action per one enemy action. Basically trying to get that 1-to-1 ratio, which you will lose if you have Cecil in your party. The flip side of the coin, of course, again, is that Cecil hits incredibly hard. Like, Cecil is an absolute destroyer of bosses. He is fantastic. Opens up a lot of strategies in the mid-game, gives you cover strats, tons and tons of options, a lot of flexibility. But again, in exchange, it makes your end game a little bit harder. So you have to sort of decide, is it worth it, right? Is Avenger Cecil going to be kind of worth the cost of time in terms of possible anchoring issues that you may have in the end game, like hanging on to Tella all the way to the end, and dropping a curve string on him to kind of fix your agility. So we'll kind of see what our runners go for here, because this is a big decision for Chocosura.
Oh, Pan. So that is, I mean, we have our underground access. I got to imagine that's going to be pretty high up on the list for Chocosura to complete kind of right away. And no, he ditches his Cecil. Okay.
He values the agility. Avenger Dragoon Spear Cane is probably good enough with the leveled Yang potentially later on. So, going for agility stability over possibilities of getting an Excalibur and sheer power. However, the Pan is the big reward here. It is a required item. Turns one check into 3 in the underground, because now the Sylphs will give you an item and you'll get 2 from Sheila instead of just 1. So that's real good.
Absolutely. You mentioned something kind of interesting about Cecil, and it brought a question to my mind, and I'm curious about your perspective. Is Cecil, when fully equipped, the most powerful main character in the Final Fantasy series when you compare them all?
No. No, absolutely not. He's up there, but no, absolutely not. I mean, if we go by scaling and kind of how the games have scaled out of control a little bit, Cloud's way up there, Squall is way up there, like, even Yuna can kind of get way out of control in terms of power level. Cecil's up there, but he's not, like, he doesn't compare to the Limit Break Age or anything like that, so.
He doesn't completely break the game. He's just power overwhelming, let me swing and I'm good. Meanwhile, we are going into the underground. microKorgs is doing a little bit of shopping. Does find Dwarf Axe and Dream Swords available in the Massinia shop. So if you're looking for something to anchor someone right there, that does give some -5 agility at that particular point in time, depending on how you set it. Also, that Dwarf Axe does back row glitch both Cecil and Kane if you want to get that set up.
So microKorgs making the first gamble of the seed, bailing out on Baron. It looks like he's in Agart now, likely to drop off his Magma Key and not fly north. This could be a problem. We know that the pan's here, and getting this out of the way is going to be real helpful.
Meanwhile, Baron Key available from the Sylphs. Does that make you tempted as soon as you go and turn in Sheila 1 and 2? Like, hey, Baron's right here on the way.
The thing is that like you've got options here, right? Dwarf Castle's double check because you have a Warp Caster. Dwarf Castle's probably doable with this party. You still can chase down Sirens yet and get some level. You've got so many good options. Like, Baron's a good option potentially if you want to sort of roll the dice a little bit on that item. You know, just sort of chase that pan down. Again, so many good options here. I would not feel bad if the play is take that Baron Key directly to Baron. I would feel bad if it was go straight to try to find Sirens and grind. I wouldn't feel bad about just do Dwarf Castle immediately. You should have the power to do it with Avenger Kane. Like, all your options are good because you're so powerful. Keyless Tower is not an option. I'm sorry. No one does that. Actually, it is an option, but that one I doubt is a good one.
Not at the moment. Not when we have so many other options available to us. You know, and the 2 Sheila checks didn't really pan out for us.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, we got a Luca Key, which in this particular flag set, when we can, warp glitch, almost worthless at this point in time. I mean, if we have to open it up, okay, great, fine. But otherwise worthless. But it is a key item, so we're up to 4 key items in a seed that has been stingy up to this point in key items. But yeah, otherwise was not necessarily great at that point in time. microKorgs, meanwhile, looks like he's getting ready to start his Dwarf Castle checks. Again, he did not get the pan, so he's on a completely different track at this point in time than Chocosura.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we know a thing that he does not know, which is always tough. So, but Chocosura chasing Miss Dragon, trying to see if Miss Dragon's in one of these 2 free spots, is not. So Miss Dragon's still out there in the Great Wide World, and we're moving on.
All right. Meanwhile, it looks like we have the Magus Sisters that are going to be the first boss in the back of the Dwarf Castle. Meanwhile, Chocosura is going through and checking some of these other shop locations. Just clearing out the rest of the overworld while he has the opportunity to do so. Probably going to commit to being underground for a while. I don't know any other reason why he would be doing this at this point in time instead of earlier, but interesting to see what'll happen. We'll see where he goes.
And stocking up's important, so it's always kind of useful. You're going to grab a couple cabins and just pop out of Troya here. Yeah, Magus Sisters, the interesting thing is that they're the roughly 6,000 health, it's a little bit more, is split between the 3 characters here, but the Magus 3 hit decently hard with their spells here. They'll melee for like 2 on armor and then like spellcast for around 400, so this is not the most pleasant of spots to see them, but it's not like the worst either.
No, and I think what was the most surprising thing about microKorgs of this, I probably would have done some more item shopping, because something like finding a couple Sirens just to be able to grind Palom up to be able to do Quake would just be the cure-all for this, because he would wreck these guys right now.
Yeah, sorry, the spell damage is actually much higher. Kane has Dragoon gear on, which is giving him elemental resistance. The non-armored characters are getting absolutely wasted here. They don't really stand much of a chance. Sid has enough health to take a hit, but this is not pretty. This is not good.
Pus Morpheus, I believe we did see Elven Bow somewhere, and you are right, Elven Bow or Mute Arrows or both would absolutely be doing work against any sort of mage types, and all of these sisters qualify for that. However, I I don't know how many arrows we have. We need arrows to shoot before an Elven Bow would be good. And I don't exactly know what our arrow situation is at.
There were charm arrows in the back of Hobbs. You can usually shop up arrows as well if you're really desperate if you're using an Elven Bow here. But yeah, this is not looking fantastic right now, as microKorgs is treading water a little bit here, trying to keep Kane up and online here, because Kane is doing damage right now. But Kane's got to get the swings off, and every time you raise Kane up, the sisters go through their Delta attack script and off at least one party member, so this is a little tough.
So the back row sister is down, which is less than ideal. Meanwhile, Chocosura is getting ready to start his fight, and microKorgs does reset out.
Yeah, without solid agility, I mean, like, again, levels are important, solid agility is important. This fight's just tough. Like, I think this fight's sneaky tough. If you're not ready for the spells to do 1,000 damage to an unarmored character, if you're not ready for that, you just don't realize that you're gonna get dropped pretty badly. As Chocosura's Tella and Porum go down immediately to start the fight. Leaving Kane alive, which is important. It looks like Callum's on chemist duty.
Yeah, at this point, I think that's what you gotta end up doing. Give more targets, because, I mean, they hit pretty hard, but the melee swings you can at least survive. At this point, you can almost count on one person dying every cast. So, all right, Mindy goes down with that particular swing. Very, very nicely done. Interesting that he's using lit bolts. He has a couple lit bolts, and his Yang, doesn't have low HP. Those lit bolts are based on, it's an HP-based attack. So, doing a little bit of work there as well.
Yeah, it's roughly 50% of your current health total, so getting rid of the front sister means you're not taking those big nasty magic attacks, which means sometimes the next couple of waves of melee attacks may not kill party members, which is really important for keeping things stable. Cindy still is going to do some work, but now she's going to resurrect the front sister, and we're sort of back to where we were at the start, but with some extra damage on Cindy.
Meanwhile, microKorgs is going to continue his shopping and checks in the underground. Looks like he is in Feymarch now. Going to be checking a few treasure chests, item shop, and then the free key item that is available down here. We'll see if we end up getting a check. I imagine we will get at least a knowledge check as to what bosses are down here to see if there's anything free. I'm hoping there's nothing nasty. Zeus Gauntlet available. That's beneficial for a lot of our characters.
10 strength, 10 vitality, gives you giant protection of all things. Just generally a great piece of armor all the way around. Also, the hook is down here as well. So that's our quote-unquote other underground access, but that also gives us access to the rat tail if we get us an item.
I think almost as important, at least when I'm running this particular flag set, is how important the Evelyn item shop ends up being. Yeah, so frequently, there's two very important items that are available in that item shop. Sirens, Bacchus, hourglasses. There's just so much that can be there. It's worth a check sometimes if you're hunting for your grind.
Yep, we have Leviathan Odin. Oh, that's not fun. And a little bit more fun is Asura Dancing Dolls, which should be a-okay. And it looks like we've gotten down to just Cindy, but that is not a stable fight for Chocosura. And again, sneaky hard fight. Takes our runners by surprise, and both of them are going to floss some time to a long, deep wipe on that fight. So now you've got to feel maybe a little bit of pressure.
I was going to say, I'm fairly certain both these runners probably feel like they're behind. You always presume you're running as horrible as you can, and your competition is running optimally. So there's pressure on both the sides, and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we don't. Chocosura does not know that he is still ahead based on that Baron check that netted him the pan. That he's actually slightly ahead on checks right now. microKorgs is coming down here and doing the single check off of the Sylphs, so gonna probably go up and talk to Sheila in a moment here. Did not check the I didn't see the item shop down here. I'm assuming there were no sirens, because I think that's the kind of thing that we would both sort of have noticed.
Yeah, I don't recall. I mean, I know he walked in the door, but I don't remember seeing anything like, oh my gosh, this is game changing. So I think I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah, Sirens and Hook would be a-okay here, but yeah, we haven't seen him yet. Wow, this shop is really bad, actually. Odin and Ether ones.
I'm calling it right now. Eblin Cave has, we're gonna get Sirens and Hourglasses both available there. I'm just calling my shot right now.
microKorgs is in my favorite part of the game, which is to say the rest of Sylph Cave. Not sure what he's looking for here. He's not going to find it because the 6 ghosts are just going to wipe his party out. But if you have like mute bells, or you have a very good agility situation with a low agility anchor and Halum with Quake, you can just blow those away basically for nothing. They're worth really good experience when you do that. They're worth like 18 grand.
Meanwhile, microKorgs, checked his Yang and is doing his Sheila 1 check. Again, does not have the pan. He's not checking Sheila 2. So I think this is just the Luca key of the first one.
Yeah, this is just the Luca key. The Baron key was from the Pan Strike itself. But the big thing here is that he's carting that hovercraft around, which means I suspect that his game plan is going to be to go and check the Eblin shop.
This is an interesting check here by Chocosura. Again, he's very underleveled. Calbrina dolls are at, I think this is the queen spot, so they're very fast, and there's a lot of hits. This might be a little bit rough.
Yeah, if you still have that Hourglass, you can use the Hourglass to lock down just the rear 3 dolls. Which still matters because it stops things like transformation into Calbrina, or taking lots and lots of damage. It's going to toad the back 3 instead, which is going to work just fine. Did we mention in the pregame that Chocosura is like one of the most aggressive free enterprise runners, like, period, in terms of like making checks and trying to kill bosses?
I mean, he certainly showed it this race up to this point, hasn't he? He's not afraid, just absolutely fearless to say, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Not afraid to spend a little bit of time in order to gain an advantage, because he knows if something pops up here that is worth it, then it'll be amazing. Hourglasses and Bacchus wines available in Eblin Cave.
To go with Silk Webs, which you can also use to sort of save yourself from a not great agility situation, because it casts double slow. Which is real handy. Hourglasses can put a boss on like the back row dolls here, put them on ice real quick, or again assisting grinding potentially if you can lock down things in like Sylph Cave or something. But our runners are gonna have to start getting creative here. We've got the Luca key. Do you think we're gonna see? No, it's not gonna happen. No one's gonna grind doors, right?
No, don't even put that disgusting thought out there into the world, but it's very possible. I mean, doors? I don't know. We have a lot of other options at this point. First,
I mean, more importantly, Chocosura does have this fight unlocked now that the front dolls are down and the back dolls are frogs. They cannot transform into Calbrina. So this is all over but the swing-in right now.
That aggressive play is absolutely paying off at this point for Chocosura. We'll see if this time investment is going to be worthwhile. microKorgs, meanwhile, showing us the Eblin character spot is just another Sid. Probably not worthwhile when you already have one at this point, and going to be leaving before long.
He did see a blue cloak there, though. There's a 50% chance that he just saw Football Gauntlet, and it is not in the seed for our runners. There's a 50% chance that he saw Water Hag and things are terrible, but there's a chance that one of the most annoying bosses in the game is just done for the day.
What is this?
Oh my Chocosura, please stop. can you just stop for a hot minute, my friend? This is beautiful. Makes the magic happen. He plucked the pan already from Baron in that microKorgs has skipped, and now he's gonna pluck the Darkness Crystal from the Sisters here in the Fey March. That is pretty unbelievable here. That gives him Moonchop chance for Sirens as well, which might be the play here. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're okay. There's coffins and exits, so you can help yourself out a little bit there, just in case. But yeah, honestly, I'm checking the moon because whatever advantage I can get out of the Darkness Crystal, Chocosura's got to know that he with his aggressive playstyle, microKorgs is not necessarily going to do this fight. That levels have been tough. The party's not necessarily an optimal setup. Not everyone is going to be able to do that fight, let alone even attempt it. So lean on that advantage, and absolutely, if you can get some sort of advantage up on the moon, either through a free fight or by finding your Siren grind up there, cash it in.
Yeah, plus we have Tella, so like we know that either ones were in Fey March, so like D-Machine grinding is on the table if we just want to snap off 22 D-Machines here and just be done with grinding forever. And then like tear apart the moon or something. There's a lot of good options here. The Darkness Crystal opens up so much, so that play is just so big right now. On the other hand, microKorgs has found like a power shirt Zeus Gauntlet. His party is real powerful, but he's got some extra items, but again, he doesn't have the progress right now. That's where he's sort of lagging behind. Like power, no problem. I've got all the tools I could ever want to just tear into a scene at this point. But he's still got work to do.
Meanwhile, microKorgs is doing a little bit of, inventory management at some point. The unwritten boss of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. Because, man, inventory space is just always at a premium, isn't it?
I think you get, 48 spots? It's not a lot. I always forget the exact number. It's in the not enough range. So it's kind of rough like that. But microKorgs is gonna make up a little bit of lost time here. Is headed over to Baron Inn, it looks like, and so we'll end up probably getting his pan in a hot minute here if he is going through with this. Starvale's Ether 2s in Mysidia. Chocosura doing a little bit of stocking up.
Meanwhile, it does look like Chocosura is going to be checking some other things. He's coming back to this item shop. I don't recall what was at this particular shop. He's done all the other checks here, so interesting to see. I'm just forgetful, apparently. Oh, Cure 2s. Okay.
Oh, that screams D-Machine grinding. Having an absolute gigantic pile of Cure 2s to throw in between D-Machine summons. We'll talk a little bit more about the D-Machine grind once we get there. And I am assuming we're going there. Like this item buy just screams. I don't even care about Sirens. I'm just gonna take my Tella to the Giant, get my job done here.
Actually, it does look like he's going to be setting it up. Would you be able to explain? Because I am a complete novice when it comes to setting it up, but he is doing some RNG manipulation. Looks like in terms of what he's doing outside of Baron, right?
Right, so normally we had a table to do this from the vanilla speedrun, which is how do I make the D-Machine fight appear? Chat letting us know that he did not reset, which actually makes this not work. But normally what you do is you do a reset. You power cycle your game. And after you power cycle your game, we have a table. And that table used to be from the vanilla speedrun where you would just go to the Giant, save at the Giant save point, and then run away from battles because running away is easy. But the flag that we have here is you can't run. We've turned off running away, so you cannot escape encounters. On the flip side of the coin, what that ultimately means is that you can manipulate the encounter elsewhere in a place which is safer, which is to say in front of Baron. So what you end up doing is that we have a table for it. You reference the table. It tells you where your encounter is going to be in the Giant. After taking X encounters on the ground, then it says either when you go to the Giant, you will turn on encounters in the save point room and get D-Machines, or you will turn on the encounter in the bridge room to the elements and get your D-Machine fight.
Meanwhile, microKorgs ends up getting the bad news, and he's triple dipping the Bool when it was, I mean, it was otherwise only a double dip, but nothing going to be there eventually. Checking his other spots, we'll see where he ends up going at this point. Yep, turning that in.
Yeah, I mean, this may drive him to Baron Inn, this may drive him to Baron Castle, this may drive him to try and find a way to get some levels for Dwarf Castle. We'll kind of see. It's going to be real interesting to see kind of where microKorgs takes this at this point, because his options are good, but again, his levels are still a little bit stagnant.
Well, and one of the interesting things about the Threemus Zone tournament up to this point in time is you only have to complete 3 of the 4 checks. Now, we know for a fact that conquering the vanilla Murasamite altar is on the moon. I mean, that's just kind of standard. It's possible that that darkness crystal is leading Chocosura on a bit of a wild goose chase at this point in time. It's his grind, yes, but we don't know if all the other checks that he could possibly make from that darkness crystal end up being empty or not. You know, the Baron Key may very well be the place where we need to go. We don't know. That's what makes the randomizer so much fun.
So we've got the fight, it looks like. So we're gonna hit an illusion on Tella just to make sure that Tella doesn't accidentally get meleeed to death for safety's sake here. The beamers are just gonna throw out some laser beams, dealing out 10% of the target's health every turn. A little annoying, but not a big deal. So just to sort of conjecture a little bit on it, there's a possibility that your seed is set at the start of the game, and if you've never reset your game, and never turned on encounters, that by doing so, what you can end up doing is you can set yourself up to do D-machines off of your initial start save, because since you've never turned on encounters and never seen a random encounter, that you don't need to reset for the first time that you do the manipulation.
Is that just a chance?
I mean, I'm just conjecturing. I'm spouting off the cuff a little bit here, because I don't know for sure. Oh, he did find Horseman. Never mind. Things are bad.
Everything's terrible. Destroy it all.
Now he's going to walk all the way out of the giant because he saved over his other save, or he's just going to try and do this the luck way, basically.
I've done this myself before. This is not a fun situation to be in. Lots of resets. Chocosura is absolutely saying words to himself that are not appropriate for a family stream.
I mean, maybe he can get some free experience up here. Maybe he finds finds like Kaivo guards or something straightforward here. No, it looks like this is Mylan and Pals. That's not good.
microKorgs ends up finding a Dwarf Axe available in Mist Village. Real interesting here. He went over and was checking for any other bosses that were available, things like that. I think he's trying to figure out which way he wants to go. I get the sense that he will eventually go into Baron. We'll see, though. He already proved that he was a little bit uncomfortable, couldn't quite get through that Dwarf Castle fight, which is the otherwise next lowest kind of fight area. And Chocosura says, okay, I did something wrong, I'm just going to reset it.
Yeah, decides to head to the ground. He's done with this for now, which is sensible. He will lick his wounds probably here and take a moment to sort of recover himself.
Question, have we seen any check on the Moonshop?
Nope. Neither runner has gone up top yet, so we have not seen a Moonshop check. Looks like microKorgs was driven back to Baron by this, and Chocosura is like, please give me the goods. I could use some tools to get some levels here.
It's not a bad check, per se. You know, knowing that there's at least 2 nice items available in the item shop, but not going to be what he's looking for. He's clearly looking for a grind at this point. You know, hourglasses are a decent option. Still hoping for those sirens, though.
Hourglasses are potentially a grind. I mean, it opens up certain things, like maybe trying to pop portals at the top of Sylph Cave, which are worth real good experience, or you know, chests in the Self Cave, or I don't know, maybe we got a Luca key, right?
Oh, oh God.
I mean, look, it's right next to Tomra. You're already underground. They're worth good experience.
Meanwhile, Chocosura looks like he's going to take another stab at the Magus Sisters. He's gotten a few fights since then, right? Like he's gotten some levels.
Dancing dolls at the Asura spot give you reduced experience. So not really. He's a little bit more powerful, but I don't know if he's like significantly more geared or powered than he was before. So it'll be real interesting to see how he kind of handles this at this point. microKorgs is taking a little bit of a safer tack, going to Baron because he has not gotten a single level since we last really kind of checked in on his leveling progress when he spent his time gearing up. He's got a ton of gear. This cane is incredibly powerful. Zeus Gauntlet, Power Shirt, Avenger Sword. This cane is going to do that damage.
And he even back row glitched him. He used the Dwarf axe, so sitting very pretty there. You know what? I like this play from microKorgs. He knows what he's comfortable with, and he's not going to necessarily go outside of his comfort zone because those deaths can mean so much time loss. So he's like, oh, you know what? Not worried about it. I'm going to do what I can. And he's continuing to make progress and make checks, which is all you can necessarily ask.
Absolutely. You stay calm, you stay cool, you stay within yourself. And that can be really, really important for succeeding. He drops his battle speed to 3 in case he runs into something like Wyvern here. Can save the day by popping a Star Veil, having a little bit of extra time. Instead, it's Mom Bomb, and being on battle speed 3 is a bit of a detriment, but that's okay.
That's one of those, routing yourself and playing the game expecting the worst, right? And there's different philosophies whenever you're doing a run, planning for the worst or planning for the best. And he planned for the worst there. Small time loss on the back end of it once we know what's going on, but the amount of time that he saved potentially running into, say, that Bahamut or the Wyvern probably would have saved him a lot of time. So I think he's comfortable with that decision.
Yeah, we're seeing this cane. Chocosura is trying to get this cane to carry through the Magus Sisters fight here. We haven't gotten to the remedy, and Kane does survive the melee swing there, which is really important. With the front sister down, there's a chance a couple swings on the mid sister could get us out of this in one piece. There we go. Just needs to dodge not going to see Charm because Sandy's in the script, so we should be okay here. Charming Kane here could be incredibly dangerous, but he is just going to make quick work, so 21,000 experience points. So Chocosura is going to give us our look at the second orgasm.
A ton of experience right there, but man, 3/4 of his party are in that weakened state. Really got to be careful. It depends on what this next boss is. Have we seen it?
We have not. It is the King of the Seas, though. I hope that your party has got at least 25% of their maximum health pool, because otherwise you're in a lot of trouble. Here's a different Borum. Here's a different Palom. He's looking... Oh, this is bad. Look at the only character that's going to survive the initial big wave is... would have been Porum. So he's going to switch Palom for Palom here to get some health back.
And lose all those levels and Quake and... Oh no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It gives him a fighting chance in this fight. He's got a Veil up on Porum for safety here. Like, he's got the heal off on her. You get the cane online here. Like, this could work out. This might have been alright. Yeah, you lose the levels on the one character, but you don't wipe out of this spot. And it also does, Venerable Noting does potentially open up D-Machine slingshotting as well. Get your Palom killed here, and then he's level 10 and your party's way ahead.
Meanwhile, microKorgs ends up finding an edge in the Baron spot. So we'll see what key item he ends up going, but he ends up ditching his Sid. No more anchoring for his Sid. We'll see what happens. Chocosura gets through it. Man, hats off to Chocosura. I have never seen so many just absolute clutch boss fights in a single run as I've seen with Chocosura.
And he just slingshots back to 23, and it doesn't matter. But that Baron key is required. We needed that. That is the Twin Harp. Oh God, is it time? Is it?
I think it's time. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're gonna grind doors, right?
I don't think we're gonna do that now.
Oh, I'm sad. Maybe a little.
Maybe we'll have a little bit of doors for your birthday.
It's not even my birthday.
We are getting a Choco check here. Blitz whip, man. Okay.
More importantly, though, Chocosura does warp glitch for the party rock, so he's got the crit crystal now. Opens up an interesting option potentially.
In a red tail, so 2 key items at that point in time. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 key items on Chocosura's side. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over on microKorgs side. 2 are available if you can get through Dwarf Castle. But he's also got that Twin Harp, which we know is going to be required. And he's going to have 2 quests completed very shortly over Chocosura's 1. This might be a much closer race than we thought even just 10 minutes ago, everyone.
Yeah, the longer that Chocosura stays away from Baron Castle, the more dangerous things get for him at this point, we know. And again, Chocosura's aggressive. Chocosura might surprise us and go Moon. Like, maybe do D machines and go Moon, and that could end up being real dangerous here. Oh, hey, look, a Crystal Sword.
I mean, that's not been a meme at all. Pass on Cecil, get a Crystal Sword in this tournament.
I mean,
not at all.
I mean, look, I don't want to talk about the probability here. I will do math at everybody on RPG Limit Break for the next 5 minutes if you make me. I'll do it. I'll do it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just a meme. Memes aren't worth math. It's okay.
Are you sure? I'll break out the math.
Meanwhile, it looks like Chocosura is going to be taking dip back into Eplin. Maybe pick up some more hourglasses or see what's going on. Not entirely sure what he's doing. Clearly coming down here for something.
Maybe he's looking for a Cecil. But maybe we should can it for a minute, because microKorgs is about to give us the most important check in Free Enterprise. Yep, chat's all over that one. Opening overworld of Final Fantasy II.
microKorgs with the courtesy check and Darkins.
Cash out that hourglass, free up the inventory spot, equip the Adventure Sword, and go grab a drink or something, everybody. Charlie Butler asking where Edge came from. Edge was hiding in the back of Baron Castle, which gave us this Twin Harp. Sirens are on the moon, so grind options are now open for business without D machines if we so choose. And we'll see what Chocosura is up to here.
I would venture to guess he so chooses. If I had to guess based on that previous D machine encounter, we shall see though. I mean, he's got the hourglasses, he's got sirens now. He's set up incredibly well for whatever grind he chooses to do. Isn't quite at 10 key items yet, but he's on the moon. He could probably get it if he explored a little bit.
Yeah, sirening for Gold Dragons with Hourglasses and Dragoon Spear, and Hourglasses, Dragoon Spear plus Sirens can be probably a good option. Plus, only problem is it puts you down low on the Lunar Subterranean, and the boss location you need is the Murasame Altar.
That's fair, although keep in mind that you know, if he's going to be up here, he's really hoping, at least those people rooting for Chocosura is hoping that he will find the Legend Sword and the Adamant. I'm sure he's hoping that he'll end up find the Twin Harp. But oh, we have ourselves a special Moon Man. Does this become a little bit more tempting now with that Crystal Sword? No!
Wow. Snaps. No. Just snaps it off. Oh, he already sold the Crystal Sword. So he had already shown his dominance over the seed by selling the Crystal Sword for Siren. So he was committed to no Cecil.
I mean, that's the thing you got to do sometimes. If you're low on cash, you've already sold everything, and then you're like, hey, I got this Crystal Sword and I need Sirens, and you're already comfortable with your party. Okay, I get it. I get it. You're not expecting another Cecil. You're comfortable with where you're at. But man, that feels rough.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that was interesting here for sure. Is he gonna pop Sirens here? This is a place where you do get double Gold Dragons. Yeah, he's gonna start popping Sirens here. We need some levels. We're not gonna do moon bosses at level 30. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, if anyone would do it, I wouldn't put it past Chocosura, realistically. And here's the interesting thing. It does look like while he's doing this particular grind, he Dragoon Speared and then switched over to the Avenger Sword, but his attacks keep that Dragoon Dragon damage at that point while he's swinging with the Avenger Sword, so made very quick work. He'll be doing that every time.
Yeah, just tears through this. We're gonna see 2 melee attacks every time, which is a bit of a nuisance, but the big thing is that if his Palom or his Porm, if like one of his characters falls behind, it ends up being pretty okay because you just go ahead and you end up getting the slingshot catch up anyhow. Like, problem is this fight is so fast.
Now sitting on his Yang, preparing for that life glitch if he can get one off. Okay. Meanwhile, microKorgs, second attempt at the Magus Sisters. You know, we're 2-1 as a stream against the Magus Sisters. I think he's going to be able to get through this one.
God, that Kane just gets decimated though by the Fire 2 here. Not really optimal at this point in time, but he needs to turn on the damage here, and he's looking at that short sword. He's hovering over that Dragoon Spear for a second like he was going to throw it, but probably need to hang on to that. There's the Quake.
There's another Quake queued up. Meanwhile, we do see a Kanyatso available at the Murasame spot. Man, he hits hard here. But we do have a Thunderclaw.
I mean, the bigger thing is we need to have these Thor Rages because we need to stop a couple of these waves. It does proportional damage based on Kainazo's current health. If we get hit by one this early in the fight, we're just gonna die.
Meanwhile, yeah, Kane. Yep.
Heavily reliant on Kane.
Kane's doing a lot of work and kind of pre-queued up another Thor Rage on Yang, just getting ready for it. Meanwhile, we do see second Palom and Leviathan over on microKorg side. microKorg is, you know, he's getting through these bosses a little bit easier than Chocosura did at his relatively low levels, simply because he's done some other things. He's leveled up, so it's not as difficult. Not to say it's easy. He's still struggling a little bit here and there, but a little bit easier of a fight than Chocosura.
Yeah, of course, microKorgs not having that Darkness Crystal again was a bit of a blessing. It did take him to Baron Castle, so we're gonna see how that plays out here. As this Berserk Dead just gonna hit Leviathan 3 or 4 times and just end this fight, so we shouldn't be worried about it here. Chocosura is just consistent on these Thor Rages though, and is keeping this party going. As he just keeps trying to work through this turtle's hit points. There's no really low hit point spot on the moon for bosses, so.
I had to think of one low hit point spot of all the bosses, it would be either White Lance, probably, or the Crystal Sword spot, just because of the mechanics of those vanilla bosses
Yeah,
compared to everyone else.
yeah, both of those are sensible calls. Wyvern Altar's a personal favorite of mine too. But yeah, that first wave hits for about 500 on everybody, so he's done a good job of working through the health here. The first wave will normally do like 1700 in the spot, which of course is just critically high damage at this point. microKorgs gonna attack on the Earth Crystal. Here, go to this rat tail from there. Kainazu's in the shell, so end of the fight, Kainazu will start trying to cast Remedy and heal himself 10% at a time. Kane is just going to continue doing work, though, probably.
So at this point, it really comes down to what happens first. Does microKorgs end up going and giving a go at the queen of the Feymarch location, which we know are the dolls, which not necessarily a horrible place to do, but it looks intimidating. Or does Chocosura end up finding both the sword and the adamant? Here's the pigtail. Or does he end up going back and doing the Baron, the whole Baron sequence? I sense, just because he's faded it up to this point in time, that Chocosura will probably fade Baron and continue up here, but you know, it's really, that's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, microKorgs is just a stop in the Feymarch away from potential 3-0. Like, that's where we stand right now. And again, Dancing Dolls with Quake, with Hourglasses, with some leveled party members, with Berserker Kane, well within the realm of doability. Like, will I say easy? No, the Feymarch bosses are never easy, but like, well within the realm of reality for him right now. On the flip side of the coin, Chocosura, these bosses are going to start going down a little bit easier as his level curve, he's up in the upper 30s now. Like, his level curve is getting there real fast. microKorgs instead has decided to take his Earth Crystal to the most loot-dense location in these flags.
Yep, the Troya Treasury, I think statistically, has the best equipment or the highest percentage of greed equipment that is in these flag sets.
It's an easily accessible chance to get tier 7 items or real high-powered items. We got a Rune Ring, a Grimoire, Hermes Sandal, another white shirt. Like, there's a Stardust Rod, a power shirt, so he's got some gear here, but he's been geared up already. Like, this is not necessarily a check that you need to make, but it's a good one here. Your Palin is now going to do infinite damage because you have a Stardust Rod. You're feeling pretty good about the extra power shirt here. Like, good stuff, but, you know, good stuff, but again, chess costs time, and so that's sort of the gamble that you make.
Alright, so now microKorgs is going to be making his way through the Tower of Zot. 2 bosses, 2 characters that I'm fairly confident we're going to nope out of pretty quickly. But then the key item check at the very end. Meanwhile, we see Chocosura up on the moon. We'll see what he ends up finding. Oh, and a trapped chest box. Meanwhile, microKorgs to see what he ends up finding. This should be quick.
Oh, Antlion's out for blood here. Hits incredibly hard in the D-Lunar spot. I mean, you know, only hitting for what, about 1700 on Kane and Yang? No big deal.
Nah, it's easy fight. It really is amazing how many of the early bosses just become so much more worrisome when all of a sudden they're at these high attack spots because they swing so fast.
Yeah, and like, we discovered, like, the randomizer communities discovered a lot of things about these spots where the enemies don't melee terribly much, or don't melee at all, in like the case of things like Bahamut spot, that the game has pre-coded those spots to have like 1 billion attack power, roughly, give or take like 2. Alright, so now Chocosura is feeling confident enough to decide to just Zerk up Kane here because he's not too worried about these counters doing a ton of damage to this party. Down goes Porum, not ideal. microKorgs is going to top off for the next two bosses.
Meanwhile, Chocosura is just playing chemist with everyone else, letting Kane swing wild. Oof.
Kane is the only character that seems to matter here right now.
Meanwhile, microKorgs finds Pain Man, the Cecil spot from the original Mount Ordeals location.
I think he can survive these hits. It's just let him swing 3 times at the party and call it good.
Yeah, Kane got tagged for a solid grand there and just went down. So Antlion's gonna claim a win here, and Chocosura's gonna be like, I'm good.
Meanwhile, Chocosura. What? Oh, that was the Fabul Gauntlet, Alt Gauntlet, which means that the Water Hag was what was at the top of Zot, or top of Babel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Chocosura's like, I'm good. That one's a good grind though. Like, that one's an interesting one because there are not a ton of hard enemies in that one in particular. I think that the worst thing you get in there, I think, is Silver Dragon, Bull Dragon. So to go through the rarity list of encounters, there's a couple of triggers in that. There's the lead-off defossil, which doesn't do anything. So Alt Gauntlet at White Spear Altar is usually pretty good, but maybe not worth it. But it's always real interesting here. Hey, it's Rosa. We found Bay. Is microKorgs gonna take Rosa here from the Party Rock spot?
You know, I'd be tempted. Double white roses. What?
Take them both. Do it, you coward. Do it for me. He's not going to do it, of course. He might take one to replace Morin, just for safety purposes here.
Yeah, only level 29. That seems like a pretty safe bet. Take your white shirt. Oh, good.
Like, he doesn't know that sirens are on the moon, and he doesn't need this Tella, but still, I was hoping. But Chocosura is stabilizing this fight pretty well, using the back row glitched Kane this time to try and keep Kane away from getting melee. Again, there's the half the damage, so only taking like 500 there, so we'll see.
No, absolutely. He's well under control. And more importantly, he's not just avenging and letting him go ham.
I mean, yeah, I like going ham, but maybe not the case here. microKorgs finds elements at the second spot here in the Tower of Zot.
Yeah, not necessarily a horrible spot for the elements. He's got the levels at this point in time. I think microKorgs' strategy has been pretty solid in terms of just knowing what he can do and going into it. He's not taking a whole lot of risks on bosses. On one side, you know, Chocosura has absolutely played that to his advantage in terms of when he got his Pan, when he got his Darkness Crystal already up on the moon. But microKorgs has still been making pretty consistent progress.
Yeah, I mean, again, the big thing here is we don't know what Chocosura is going to get up here at this point in time. And if he does get the Legend Sword at the Atom, he's still got to go all the way back down to Earth. He's still got to come all the way back. So...
Okay, Tower Key. Well, we have a pretty solid idea where microKorgs might be going next.
I mean, that makes things look good for Chocosura, though. Because that's not a Legend Sword. That's not an Adamant.
True. I think the worst thing for Chocosura is if microKorgs ends up finding a Legend Sword or an Adamant somewhere up on the moon. Because that's going to mean all of his checks up here are going to be not worthless per se, but less valuable. And Antline goes down. Wow.
All right. Well, it's an invenerable seed, so we know we're going to get at least one of the adamant or the legend sword here, right? That's how this works? Of course, called it.
Burn!
Easy.
Burn the witch!
Easy game.
Burn her!
Well, there's another Zeus Gauntlet as well, but there's half the puzzle right now for Chocosura. What he does next is real important, though.
Meanwhile, microKorgs finds a free fight down at the Odin spot. It doesn't look like... Oh, there's his hourglasses. He has them. But yeah, this one's free.
Yeah, 100% free. Block it down, walk away. Maybe life glitch the... Maybe hit the back soldier with like a coffin and a life potion for the experience points. But yeah, he's game for that there too.
I think the difference here is that Chocosura is gaining quite a few levels on these boss fights, and also, has a grind. He has his sirens. Meanwhile, microKorgs, I mean, he's making slow and steady, kind of consistent progress, but he still doesn't really have much of an idea in terms of what his grind is going to be.
I mean, he's really committed to this Tella. It's likely his grind is gonna... He doesn't know that Sirens are on the moon. Right? His grind could be D-Machines. His grind could be going to the moon and getting those Sirens and then just doing Cool Dragons. He's got options. It's not that he doesn't have options. It's that he doesn't know what they are yet. Yeah, Karate Man at this point is just serving up the pain here. Another big physical hitting spot.
Now, help me, because I've always been a little bit unclear about the karate boss encounter and when it's considered free. Like, if you have Cecil in your party, or Cecil, I'm sorry, isn't that when things start unlocking when you have that particular fight, or what ends up triggering that?
So you need to have Paladin Cecil, you need to survive to the second kick, and then that is how you get, when Cecil hits the Karate Man after the second kick, well, it's technically right on the second kick, but after the second kick, he just goes ouch and just dies.
Well, that would be nice. And Paladin Cecil is just available up top, and not too bad. Meanwhile, microKorgs ends up finding a spoon. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So microKorgs now has 10 key items, by the way.
Yeah, that's it gets to 11, I think, actually. But yeah, he's got double experience now. Can be thrown for nearly almost always quad 9s once you have some levels here. But Chocosura through the Masamune altar just gets a empty Stardust there, so it's just gonna reset. Doesn't really care about the experience here. Darkness Crystal behind Dancing Dolls at behind the Dancing Dolls down at the Fey March in the Asura spot.
Yeah, it was really kind of I wouldn't say it was a shock to see Chocosura go ahead and do that. He was very underleveled at that point in time, but managed to get through it just by the skin of his teeth. But man, he's really invested a lot of time into that. Has found the adamant. One way or the other, if he's going to be doing that, Moon is required. It really comes down to, does Chocosura find the Legend Sword first, or does microKorgs go ahead, bite the bullet, and try to do that King Queen Evelyn spot? That's it. That's really the difference.
Yeah, so now microKorgs is going to do the double check on the tower with that tower key, which makes sense here. Wyvern is waiting at home. Wyvern didn't even go out or anything. Wyvern is just hanging out on the altar, angry.
Well, microKorgs is going to be showing us what is up here at the top of, or in Lower Babel, at the top of Lower Babel, which is a weird tongue twister. But we have our Bahamut, which should be a relatively easy fight, all things said. That is the Water Hag, we now know for sure, in the back half of Upper Babel.
More dragons!
Got to reflect off, and now he's swinging with Avenger Cane from a Dragoon Spear. This ought to be interesting to see if he can get the damage off.
I mean, this is going to be close. Should get there, though. He's doing about 5,000 swing right now. First nuke shouldn't be lethal. It should do around 1,200 damage. Or 1,600, but it's not lethal. That's all that matters. Kane, I'm gonna need you not to low roll a couple times here. Thanks in advance.
I think he knows that too. He's like, we're gonna give this another shot.
Kane was big flexing and then stopped with big flexing at the end here. Bahamut gives Bahamut summon.
I mean, that makes sense. Not what we want to see though.
So yeah, so looks like the tower not paying off for microKorgs either here yet. So we'll see what's going on here while Kane attempts to go back to work.
No, a little bit higher rolls at this point in time. Should be able to, like you said, should be able to survive at least one nuke.
You know what? I like big numbers.
Gets through it. Chocosura, so many close fights. And is this a Legend Sword? Is it? Nope.
It's the Legend Bow. So, Moon's clear, other than Bahamut's spot here, so probably going to go check for value in Cave Bahamut, because he's pretty committed to the bid here. On the flip side of the coin, microKorgs is going to see what the tower gives. We know it's not going to be Dark Crystal, but this could be the Legend Sword, and that would again be very bad for Chocosura. Oh, and he ditched the Alt Gauntlet, because everybody ditches the Alt Gauntlet, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Legend Sword could absolutely be there, which would be fantastic and heartbreaking all at the same time.
It would be an absolute disaster for Chocosura at this point.
But one of the nice things about, for microKorgs has really been that,
The biggest rabbit hole of all up here on the moon has been locked in a spot where he doesn't necessarily want to see. We see a Volvales, not a horrible spot for Volvales, really pretty doable. But microKorgs, as soon as he ends up completing this particular tower run, here's what he's doing. He's killing off his Toa and sneaking these alerts. He's finding his grind right here.
Yeah, and trying to get some free sirens here, which is central. Again, doesn't know that sirens are on the moon, so making the magic happen here now by stealing sirens instead. As this race sort of ebbs into like the 80+ minute mark here, of course, going to give some thanks here to Sheep Launcher for handling tracking tonight. Invenerable running the Restreamed Vitasia, of course. It's a pleasure getting to work with you as always. How's this race been for you so far? How are you feeling about this one?
This has been kind of a fun race. Both competitors undefeated up to this point in time in their group. Great route divergence, great different strategies, great different philosophies really shown in this, and really showing the different ways that you can succeed in this particular randomizer. It's just a ton of fun right now. And of course, it's always a pleasure working with you, Demerine. It's, you're one of my favorite people to work with.
Yeah, Valvalis dumpsters Chocosura as well, by the way, for the chat asking what he got. He got a lot of sorrow, which is actually good, because he's done with the moon. He's gonna ditch 2 hard bosses and make the correct choice in saying, you know what, moon's haunted as heck. I'm out of there. Let's move.
Yeah, and even if he checks Odin's spot, we know that Odin is going to be relatively easy with that officer group. So he's on the right path at this point in time. It'll be very, very nice for Chocosura. Meanwhile, microKorgs is still trying to find his grind.
Yeah, well, he is finding his grind right now, one steal at a time, as he just keeps grabbing these sirens. So he's gonna get his grind. That's no problem. Now I'm just real curious at where the Legend Sword is. I'm really looking forward to those spoiler logs. So. But Chocosura doing some gambling, goes Moon, takes out the easy parts of the Moon, leaves the bad parts of the Moon. Doesn't get his go mode, but ends up it's gonna come back and fall into it here.
What's going through your mind right now if you're Chocosura? Knowing that you went up to the moon, you found you found an adamant, and you didn't even necessarily find any key items to go on any rabbit hunts. You're like, oh, nothing was here.
I mean, basically you're going, I hope I didn't leave both the Twin Harp and the Legend Sword on the Moon, but you're also thinking, there's not much of a chance of that being the case, right? Like, this is the play. There's 2 checks here that I can't do versus 2 checks at Baron I can do. I'm gonna convince myself this is the right call. Right? We know it's the right call.
This has to be.
Right? Like, you know it's the right call right now. I know it's the right call because we saw what microKorgs did. But we're both sitting here, like you've got to convince yourself that what you're doing is correct. You can't second guess yourself.
I mean, that's nice for Rosa, Lifestaff.
Tower is super busto here. microKorgs is gonna be forced to maybe grab some levels and then do Fey March. So he's gonna be forced to Fey March here. Chocosura is doing this boss first because, interestingly enough, it's faster. Like, it is numerically faster to do this fight first and see if you get the item that you want out of it, maybe with a stone along the way.
Absolutely. I mean, he's doing good work on it, all things that, I mean, other than that forum staff swing.
But yeah, microKorgs is hitting them sirens now. He is like, alright, it's time for levels. Like, it's time to just finish my grind, do it now. He knows Darkness Crystal's go mode, he knows Darkness Crystal's on, right? Like, so he's just prepping himself to go do Fey March bosses at this point and get his grind done, which is a very sensible play. This is absolutely correct. I love this play.
Now the question becomes, can he get his grind completed and kill... presuming depending on which order he does, this might even make the difference too. You know, he'll have to get his grind done, kill both King and Queen, or just the Queen, even then, to just get the Darkness Crystal, do the cutscene, go up and do the Mercy on my altar, all before Chocosura kills this boss and then does the Twin Heart. Like, I still think Chocosura is actually at a bit of an advantage right here in terms of the straight.
I think so too, and I know microKorgs in his races has been grinding pretty safely. Like, he'll take Rosa to 2200 here. Like, he'll take Rosa to a big pile of health, which is fine. It is safe, and I think that'll buy him a little bit of time. Chocosura probably needs to pop another Siren on the Moon on the way down, just for safety's sake here, because Chocosura's in like the low 40s, I think, now. Both runners are over 10 key items though, so the grind is fine on both sides. This is gonna be real interesting. Like you've got both of our runners in good shape here. It's gonna be real tight.
Alright, meanwhile, just switches on an Avenger to Kane, says, yeah, let's make this as fast as possible. And Chocosura gets through that Baron fight so quick and says, oh, here's an edge, even though you're already in your mid-40 levels.
Yeah, don't need that. Just not a thing.
Alright, so Chocosura is going to find his Twin Harp here directly. microKorgs is getting close to his grind. I really think he's just hoping to get Rose at the levels, and then he's good. Probably seeing Zerg strats. Might see some hybrid if his Hallam just happens to learn Nuke. I don't know if he's going to get it. He might, though.
We'll see here. Like, I'm not sure. Again, he might take Rosa pretty deep here, though. And Rosa is a bit of a safety valve in this Romus fight. Like, it does give you a bit of an advantage in that she is way more likely to survive a Big Bang than a 1875 health Forum, who has been known to just sort of die evenly geared. So we'll see. microKorgs is done grinding. Has popped up on the airship and is headed to the march. So hopefully he picks Dancing Dolls first. That'll make this race real interesting. He still has to do the Murasame altar, however, which is a bit of a detour here, while Chocosura is here giving us music now.
I don't immediately recall what was on the Murasame spot, but I don't remember the boss being overly difficult. Like, Chocosura did it at relatively low levels.
It was Kainazo, so it's actually a dangerous fight. So it does require that you be a little bit sharp, otherwise even a high-level party can get taken down by that.
Get cooped. We're on our way. Darkness Crystal is at Queen Evelyn, which is the Dolls fight.
Chocosura decides to use a kamikaze and fling himself directly at the one remaining unit, so that'll be that for that. Get some more, get ourselves an encore here. And while we listen to the harp music, it's just worth noting that microKorgs had decided to go to Odin first here, trying to take advantage of that, taking advantage of Lit 3 and the claw on Edge here, trying to do the hard boss first, in hopes of maybe falling into it, falling into the Darkness Crystal here.
So far, so good. We'll see.
Oh, that changes things.
Oh, that is huge. Oh my. He does not need to go up to the moon. He does not need to take the long walk down. He has to go up to the moon anyway. He's got to do the Murasame altar, really isn't changing it. He'll just exit and fly back. But
Yeah,
Not a long walk.
gonna save a couple minutes of walking though. I mean, he's still gonna go up there though. It's not the greatest thing in the world.
his levels are fine. Honestly, at this point in time.
I mean, it does mean he doesn't have to run again. Doesn't have to run all the way down. He can cast exit after the Murasame altar and pop back up. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Alright, well, Chocosura's got a crystal. He's done. He's ready. He's gonna head up to the, maybe fill out his levels.
Yeah, fill out his levels, go to the moon. microKorgs, I think, still has to even do the Lunar Whale cutscene. So
He's just getting a
still a
Darkness Crystal now. This is gonna be real interesting here. It's gonna be really, really tight down to the end here.
microKorgs knows he's in go mode. He's got to go get his whale. Chocosura also in go mode. Just got to get his levels in order to go. This is going to be a tight finish. Chocosura, I still want to give a little bit of an edge. Grind versus going up and doing Murasame. Slight edge, but man, it's going to be tight. Chocosura cannot, and this is where we've seen a lot of runners end up slipping up. You know, if you feel you're behind, you might be tempted to do a lower percent Z fight that ends up costing you because of a bad big bang roll or something like that. Chocosura's got to be real careful, because if he does mess up anything on Z, microKorgs is right on his butt.
Yeah, this is really gonna come on down to the very, very end of it here. microKorgs is absolutely not taking the Moon Cecil here. He's already ground up. He did a bunch of eggs on the ground, so he's got underground egg levels. He's at level 50 already, or real close to it. Chocosura is headed down though.
Yeah, Chet pointed out, you know, he never sold his crystal sword. He could do it for like a low-level agility anchor. Still, I can't anticipate him doing that at this point in time. It takes time to equip. And
yeah, I mean, I mean, he's not gonna do any leveling here. It's probably not worth it. Like, save your agility, keep yourself together. He's got a couple of Avengers, but it's just not worth it. It's just so unsafe. It's just...
Meanwhile, here comes Chocosura doing a little bit of King Ryu grind at this point.
Yeah, I mean, gonna fill out levels here. We knew that his form, especially, is not ready to do the job here.
I mean, this, I hate to say it, this might come down Corum versus Rosa. You know, it takes a lot of levels to allow Corum to be able to do anything
He does.
to survive, so I don't know.
On the flip side, though, out Tella in Cecil, microKorgs is going for it here. His agility situation is now hecked. And the flip side of the coin, however, if he's got like a cursed ring or he's got the Dwarf Axe, he can unheck it that way by killing off Cecil and just giving him a Dwarf Axe. This is interesting. He's gonna try to make it work. It will continue to help his DPS on the Threemus fight. This may make the Kainatsu fight a little bit more interesting. This could be good. This is a risk. This is really rolling the dice here.
And his levels are set up that it will slingshot his Cecil Ronet if he doesn't kill him off.
Yeah, it'll slingshot him, but then you really want to have a curse ring to adjust his agility downward for anchoring purposes. So again, this is a risk. This is an interesting play. I appreciate it though. It's like, this is it, right? You win this game, you're in the table. It's been a long seed. You haven't seen a dot done yet. Now is like, do you take Cecil here to maybe try and get a little bit more of an edge at the end? And I really like this play.
At minimum, it's a play that takes guts to call one way or the other. Whether it works out or not, you have to respect, you know, the willingness to make the call that says, you know what, I want to do this.
I respect anybody who has decided that the correct play is let's go for it.
That's a good 1-2 combo. He will use Thor Rage to get rid of the lit, and then has an Ice 3 already queued up. Kenyatta is weak to Ice, of all things, when his wave is not up. So just really setting up a nice 1-2 combo here.
and he's trying to whip Cecil with the defense sword, and is going to try to use Cecil to kill himself off here. Doesn't succeed, but he's trying real hard.
Oh no.
Maybe he's just deciding he's not worth it here. Chocosura is done. Chocosura is going to take a save here and see what his alpha's on the form here. 782.
Bad roll could do it. This is still anyone's game.
This is super risky. I love it. I love it. Your opponent hasn't not done yet. You really want to grind to 2,000 hit points on Forum? The answer today is no.
This just matches Chocosura's playstyle from the beginning of this race. I've never seen so many butt-clenching fights where only one character ends up surviving one or two through all of this. So Chocosura, this is playing to his style at this point. Meanwhile, microKorgs also finishes his grind. He's going to get his crystal. He's going to exit out and cash in that pass at this point. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. But
couldn't kill Cecil, though. Cecil's level 36 now. That's a bit of a problem here. He's going to keep exit. He's going to cast exit. Chocosura's rolling up. microKorgs, if he just goes down and initiates the Z fight, is probably about 90 seconds behind.
Meanwhile, we do have a very important question that we like to ask. One of the many things that we randomize here.
We cannot randomize Zeromus. It would be unfair. We're going to make sure the boss and Zeromus's behaviors absolutely stay the same, but we do still have a little bit of fun with his true colors emerging. So the question becomes, chat, whose butt are we going to kick?
I thought the question was, why is Tella still in this party?
Lack of options.
What are you doing, microKorgs? What?
microKorgs is playing safe now, which is what happened. He's going to go get the Sid for his anchoring. He's going to grab Sid for an agility anchor because he left Sid behind.
Oh, no.
Hi, Miria.
Miriam us.
Miria, of course, one of the biggest programmers / engineers in randomizer communities everywhere. Has done some work on this wonderful game. Has done some work for multiple other randomizers as well. Just a great person overall. Way back in the day, she did the original translation for Final Fantasy V. But she's also the final boss of Breath of Fire Grade. So we've got Chocosura setting up, zerking the gentleman here. Gonna try and set up a Star Veil, maybe push a little bit of damage out. And microKorgs is not getting an anchor, he's keeping Cecil. It looked like he just wanted a ninja shirt and a little bit of extra gear here, for safety's sake. And now he's gonna grind Cecil out to 45. On the flip side,
It's close.
it's safe. It's safe, but he's going for safety, and that's sensible here. But it's likely to cost him this time around. Safety's gotten him through the first two races very well, but today is not going to be the. Today it looks like it's not going to be the option here. Is choose Zerkers, nuke casters. Chocosura is doing all-out damage here. Got formed to white and Paladin to nuke and was done grinding. So just kind of going all out here.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic work. Chocosura is really, pedal to the metal at this point. Really not letting up the gas at all. That's been his style all race. That's his style at this point. Really taking advantage of it. microKorgs is, he is playing it safe. That's been his style. But you're right. He went in and he's like, okay, I'm good. Now he's off.
Yep. Looks like Chocosura is just going to top his party off real quick here. Paladin not going to get the top off because he's got a wall on him. The only nice thing about this particular party is that both looks like Yang at 4,800 health could probably take two big bangs and not worry about it too much. So,
but this nuke may push over Threemus past the health refill threshold, which makes this fight a lot safer all of a sudden, because now we're down to about 60,000 points. But yeah, doing something which we call hybrid strats in the community, which is you berserk your berserkers and you let your casters reflect, and you just turn everybody into a DPS character in an attempt to sort of make up for the holes in your DPS by just pushing so hard that it doesn't matter, by making sure everyone is doing damage. Those nukes are hitting with all the gear that the Palom has. The nukes hitting for 9k plus is really nice for this particular strategy.
Absolutely. We may not see, I mean, given everything set up, yeah, that's the second shake. I think pass through the refill at this point in time. Probably not going to see a full-powered Big Bang, so Korum's low HP just isn't going to become an issue. Yeah, Meteor already.
Yeah, it does not matter. We're not going to see Big Bang 2. We just get victory fireworks here. Palom and Korum both dodge it because they're just showing off at this point in time. This fight is all but over.
And there it is. Flashes, boom, bang. GG's. Chocosura advancing 2-0 officially in this race. GG's Chocosura still in the hunt for those tables. microKorgs, in the meantime, we'll move on to 2-1. We'll advance now to the Magma round of Swiss. Ran a very good race, just two contrasting styles. We saw two very different things from these runners. Great to see that contrasting styles, and both of them undefeated up until this point in time, but someone's got to win. And GG's to Chocosura for getting into it. We'll see if Choco is around for a quick chat.
Yeah, this is just a real interesting scene in terms of how it played out. Like, one more bad gamble for Chocosura, or microKorgs playing a little bit less safe at one point, could make all the difference. Like, that's the amazing thing about this particular race, is it really just came down to the bounces. It was real close the entire way. Chocosura had a lead at one point, microKorgs had a lead at one point, and it just came down to making the decision making and a little bit of aggression.
Speaking of, Chocosura does join us in the channel. GG, sir. Moving on to 2-0. How you feeling?
I think Chocosura might be feeling like that his mic isn't working.
We didn't see it, but one of the Big Bangs, apparently with the low HP, took out his mic. So, you know. Yeah, chat's bringing up a great question. The question becomes, where is that legend sword? Is it behind one of those just horrible, horrible setups up on the moon? Possibly, you know, where the alt gauntlet was, or any of the other spots.
How about now?
There you're at.
Oh, I feel like my heart was about to burst out of my chest because I made so many mistakes during that run. It was quite ugly. But I was thinking to myself, how did I win this race?
I mean, you both cleared a lot of the game. You both made a lot of decisions that sort of fit your playstyle. You're probably one of the Legend Sword on Demist. We'll never know. Wow. So Moon was a bust. But yeah, I think the big thing is that you, of course, showed that you were very aggressive, early dancing dolls, trying to do like early Dwarf Castle, trying to make a lot of plays, which probably cost you a lot of time. The next thing, microKorgs tried to make the same play at Dwarf Castle and also got turned back by the Magus Sisters, but then got really conservative and stuck to the earth, but just basically full cleared the earth, tip to tail. Didn't get it until last checking dancing dolls.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I figured I saw those dolls. I'm like, yeah, let me take a shot at these because I have Toad. I can at least do that to stop the transformation. I didn't have a lot of damage at that point, so I figured I might as well toad them and then just try to chip them down. Because I don't think I had any hourglasses.
It was kind of the defining play that of the race, though. I mean, you really highlighted your ability and willingness, I think, to go to do risky plays. I would say. I mean, you got through a lot of fights where you only had 1 or 2 characters alive ever. It was the most clutch fighting in Threemus I think I've seen in a long time.
You know, ever since I've been practicing this flag set, I've been playing a lot more aggressively. Well, of course, that depends on what team I have, whether I can do that or not. But I felt that I could go a little bit more aggressive with that team. Although, I honestly think I should have taken both Cecils that run, especially after seeing that crystal sword behind Rat Tail. I was thinking to myself, okay, if Korgs got that crystal sword and kept a Cecil, then I probably lost. But and then I probably would have just went with Porum Yang Kane or something like that.
Yeah, but you couldn't know that the second one was on the moon well after you ditched the first one super early.
True.
That was kind of the thing, is that they were really spaced out. Neither of them took Cecil. Korgs took the second one with the crystal sword, though, after the fact here. Korgs, despite inching on dodging meteors, by the way, he does dodge the last one, so he is down and done and through by the skin of it, because I think if Kane took another meteor at 900 health, he'd probably have been it there, but 149.56 for microKorgs, a very tight race.
Nice. About, what, 5 minutes apart, I think?
Yeah. But basically 5-minute differential, yeah.
Yeah, I think my Z fight went pretty well for what it was worth. The hybrid strats came through because I needed. I know I had the Kane with Avenger and Yang, but I needed a bit more damage. That's kind of why I got Palom up to nuke, and I needed white on Porum because I think I had her with just base gear. I don't think I had anything for her, to be honest, but I needed a little bit more HP on her just in case something bad happened. But I think I timed it pretty well and knocked them into a second phase right on time. But
I mean, with sub 1800 health, Porum, sometimes pushing is absolutely the right strategy there.
yeah, I wasn't expecting that much damage from her white either, which kind of surprised me.
I think that was kind of the biggest question, there at the very end of the race, because microKorgs was just kind of finishing up his grind and getting everything set when you were entering the fight. So it was one of those, okay, if you take a bad full power big bang to the face, your Porum might fall over. So we didn't know how that was going to play out, but I mean, the damage that you were putting through it's like, what big bang, right?
Right. That's what I was afraid of, really. I'm always nervous taking Porum into that fight unless she's like massively over leveled or something. But yeah, I'm always nervous taking her. I would rather have Rosa any day, but I didn't find a Rosa this seed, unfortunately.
There were 2 roses behind the Earth Crystal, FYI.
Oh wow. If I didn't find that, if I didn't do Baron first, I probably would have went to Zod afterwards.
I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad check. I think
Yeah.
one of the main reasons that microKorgs ended up going it because he hadn't done the Darkness Crystal. Like, the Darkness really led you guys, and you went up onto the moon, and microKorgs stayed on Earth. And meanwhile,
Right.
microKorgs does join us. GG's getting through this.
Thank you, and GG, of course, Choco. What a tight race, and congratulations, Choco.
Thank you, GG, man. Great race.
Yeah, I was surprised when we got to an hour 30 and there was no done, and then as we got closer and closer, and I was able to get the crystal and there was no done, I said, "Do I have a shot at this?" And yeah, it was close.
I was thinking the exact same thing because of all the mistakes I made too. I was thinking I lost this race.
And apparently we made the same early Magus Sisters play, and that did not work out.
No, it did not.
I hate them now.
They kind of sneak up at you in that first spot in the Dwarf cast. You're like, this isn't such a bad boss. They don't have a ton of health, and then all of a sudden they're just milling for like 600 and then firing away for about 1,000. You're just like, oh, this is bad times.
Yeah, I was just hoping that I had a mute knife. I knew I didn't. That would have made that a lot easier. But yeah, that was a little bit of a gamble. But I guess it didn't cost me because we made the same one, and I think I overlooted a little bit compared to Choco, and maybe played a little. Yeah, I obviously didn't take the darkness crystal fight until the very end.
True, but I mean, there were other things that happened. You know, there was nothing on the moon. Choco ended up going to the moon pretty early, and I think the only thing he found up there was an adamant. No real other, even rabbit holes were up there. It was just kind of a time sink, but he got some levels. And he was stuck with a forum for the final Z fight where you got those double roses that was available there in Tower Azad.
Yep. I plucked one of them. It felt like the right call, even though it was kind of later in the game. I guess it was like just past the mid stage. But I said, you know, she's gonna gain all these spells that Porum has already pretty quickly, and then of course the hit points are gonna get where I need to be much better.
Yeah, I think the big thing for you, microKorgs, is that, again, you played the same way you played the first two seeds of this round. You played very safe, you played very straightforward, you played, you calmed yourself down by moving to a check that you could do after failing the check that you couldn't do, which is something I always love seeing players do. Like, you collected yourself well, and you played it, again, very safe and straightforward, which, against a faster opponent who gambled a little bit, ended up in about the same time frame.
Yeah, when I saw those dolls, I said, I probably could take them. I think I had the hourglasses at that point, but my thought was, let me come back. It's obviously a risk. I knew something valuable could be there, but I said, let me come back when I can do both at once, and I just kind of stuck to that, and that's why I did the egg grind. I said, I want to make this Odin easy, and that Odin and that Keinatsu at those levels, at lower levels, would have been way harder. So I'm glad I did that at least. And I was wondering if that late Eblin run, I was wondering if you knew what was going on there.
The first one was items. The second one, I thought you were going down there to grab Sid to re-anchor because you fouled up and didn't kill your Cecil off on Keinatsu. So I thought you were about to run all the way in there to grab Sid to anchor your group.
That would have been a better idea. My idea was because, I couldn't, Cecil couldn't take himself down. I guess I forgot I had a crystal sword for a second, and I had him hitting himself with something else, defense sword. But I checked his agility and it was 24. And in my head, I said, I saw a ninja hat in Cave Eblin. Let me go buy that, get him to 27. I'll take one egg fight, get him to 28, and then go. And of course, I got there and I just on instinct bought the thing that said ninja, and it turned out it was a ninja shirt, which I immediately turned around and sold right back at a big hit. They depreciate very quickly. And yeah, I thought I saw a ninja hat somewhere, but it obviously wasn't there.
Ninja shirt's great for Edge in the Zeromus fight, though. It does improve his magic resistance, but...
Yeah, my brain was working there. I probably should have kept it once I bought it.
I mean, the nerves are going. It's a hard game.
Oh, yeah. No, listen, Choco and I are in a lot of the same asyncs, and he regularly beats me by 10, 15, 20 minutes. So the fact he wasn't done yet, yeah.
If I get lucky.
But yeah, the heart was pounding at that point when there was no done, and I was on my way to Z, and I had the pass, and that was the other thought. And Choco confirmed that he didn't take Odin and didn't get the pass, so that was a little bit of a time save on my part, or else I would have finished 10 minutes behind rather than 5.
I mean, it's tough, certainly.
The interesting thing is, I think Odin was actually at Odin at Leviathan. Yeah, and that pass was really made things tight there for a second. We were really hyping it up. It looked like it was going to come down to a pretty close race, but Choco ended up coming out with the win. I got to ask both of you guys about the next step. Choco, you still have one more race to go against a tough opponent. If you win, you're in tables. So I'd ask you about that, and then after that, micro. This puts you in magma route. So are you going to do anything different to prepare for the chaos that's going to come with this magma round?
Go ahead, Choco.
Oh well, I, I was thinking to myself, okay, if I win this race, I have a shot at tables because I know who my next opponent is, and I have to play in try hard mode. So I'm just gonna do my best and play the seed for what it is. And if I lose tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Sunday, then at least I'll end up in magma. So I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out so far.
You guys, is that the last match of the group stage? You and Starman?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Everyone got to tune into that. That's going to be a must watch. And yeah, for me, once I've played a few table seeds and they're fun and they're different. And I guess I would have put the group flags away for a while, but I guess I get to keep playing them for a few weeks. So I don't know. Maybe I should get less safe. Maybe I should take fights with dead characters and risk everything. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. There are so many scary people, as we know, that went 2-1. So I'll have to see who I get matched up with.
I mean, that's always the toughest part. Is that maybe do you stick with what's gotten you here? That's always the biggest thing. It's how you've been playing has gotten you here. It's gotten to where you are now. So that's up to you. That's the tough decision, certainly, and that'll be real interesting. Chocosura, I'm real interested in seeing your race against Starman. Hopefully, Starman can pull it together. He's had some ups. They've had some ups and downs this tournament, but we'll see if they can bounce back, or if you can take it to 3-0 and join that squad of amazing runners at 3-0.
Yeah, I'm shaking in my boots, but I'm gonna see what I can do. It's funny because last week I just realized who Starman was, and I'm like, oh man, wasn't he the one who won the Hopen tournament last year?
And then he then made was it top 16 or top 8? I forget which round. I think it was top 16 of
Top 16 in the
football gauntlet.
yeah. So I got my work cut out for me, but we'll see what happens.
When I saw our group, a few weeks ago, they revealed I was in a group with Starman, Chocosura, and No Dumping, who I didn't know that well, but is a very good player as well. I was shaken.
Yes, he is.
And to come out 2-1 is amazing.
No pushovers there so soon out there. So I look forward to seeing your race next week, microKorgs, and of course I look forward to Chocosura's race on Sunday. But we are gonna wrap this party up right now. We've had a heck of a race. It's been a heck of a night. Any last words, Vitasia, before we wrap this party up?
No, just one last shout out. Absolutely, thank you so much to both Chocosura and microKorgs. Put on one heck of a race. Was absolutely fantastic. A big shout out, of course, to our tracker, Sheep Launcher, doing the work behind the scenes, and our restreamer, Invenerable, rolled a real classic for us tonight. And of course, Demerine, it's always a pleasure working with you. Love it when we get to work together.
Yeah, it's a blast as always. Give all these wonderful folk a follow. They're all great. They're all out there practicing, streaming, entertaining. It's great. But for now, we're gonna head on over to Free Enterprise. We've got another race on the docket right now. I gotta check the schedule because I forgot who's what where. I think that's a race. That's your race. Let me give you the names and we'll send you over there.
That looks like over on Free Enterprise.
That is the last match of the Zodiac group. It looks like is Trevelyan versus Oscardwin. Oscardwin with a win would go 3-0 and make it 2 tables. Trevelyan needs this one for 2-1 and for Magma Group, so we should go over there and cheer them on.